Hey, what is up guys? This is Unpunk bringing you another video here today. What this is going to be is a very simple and straightforward guide that makes it really easy to unlock the last two character challenges you need for the Slayer of Casablanca. So what this is going to be is obviously, we'll be excluding the penny killer because I've already made a guide on that previously, so I will link that down in the description, so that way if you guys need to go watch that one, you can go watch that one, but that will be a solo challenge or easily done solo, so go check the video description if you need that one. But we're going to talk about the first two here, which is the penny pincher as well as the penny strangler. So in the order these go, you can do them both in one game. I will give you a specific setup of how many points each player will be spending. They will be labeled 1 through 4, and I will go through and have it all on screen to easily show you guys what I mean in just a minute. But first, I'm going to tell you what the challenges are, and we're going to go ahead and look at the class setup that all players will be using, which will be the same, and it's going to make it very easy. You are going to need to be a high level to do this strategy. I would say upwards of 35. I don't remember exactly when all of these unlocks are available, but there will be a few unlocks you will need. So first, as you're doing this Easter egg, you're going to need to obtain the pommel with spending less than 20,000 points. I have confirmed this over 4 separate games with 4 different players that have not gotten it, besides myself getting it for the first time and then running it back with 3 different groups. I ended up proving that it is under 20k, and it has been all over the place. So as long as you follow the guide I will have in just a second, you will 100% get this pommel under 20k. You're going to want to avoid going down for this challenge. If you do go down, make sure to self-revive yourself before you hit half of your revive bar. As soon as you would hit half of your revive bar for that player or less, you're going to lose 10% of your points upon revive, no matter if a teammate gets you or if you self-revive. So self-revive as quick as possible if you go down during any stages of this, and if you have the correct setup that you will see in this guide, then you shouldn't go down even once or have any troubles during the boss fight. It will be extremely easy. So for the penny strangler, it is once again, don't go down or revive yourself before you hit half a bar, so don't lose that 10%. And we're going to have one pack punched gun for that, so you're going to have that player taking lead, and one person will have the ripsaw, and it's going to be pretty straightforward. That one is under 20k, obtaining the pommel. The next challenge is penny pincher, which is survive the darkest shore on a budget. So a lot of people were thinking this was 20k to survive with your entire team. You needed skeleton keys, you needed uber ladens to get through it even the slightest, but that is not true. We have just proven it in 2 games in a row tonight that you need to spend under 10,000 points per person. This also follows the no downs rule, and if you do down, revive yourself before that halfway mark on your little revive bar, so that you do not lose your 10% of points, because if you do, you have to recalculate your points and make sure that you do not have over your limit per player or your 40 total thousand or 20,000 for the pommel. It is ideal to do this in 4 players. It will get more obviously unlocked for more of you and your friends, as well as make it a lot easier to do the boss fight and all of that. I recommend, if you want, to bring in 2 uber laden hearts, and that will be the most you would need, but you can definitely do this without. So as soon as you get all of that squared away and you understand that it is 10k per person, as well as the penny strangler is 20k for the pommel as an entire team, we're going to head on right over to where I'm going to show you the class setup, and we'll be right there. Alright, so we're going to be using the Shell Shock class for this, as all 4 players will be using this with the current mods and such on it. So you want to be using the Protector mod, which gives all players in the surrounding area near you a point of shield, sustain zone to allow you to hurt the bosses and specific zombies during the rounds for longer and harder, and exploit weakness to do triple damage instead of just double damage. You're going to want to use the M1A1 carbine, which is going to be on my screen titled the Bite the Dust, because I have an epic variant of it. And you're going to want to use whatever lethal grenade you find fit to unlock the parts for the pest to upgrade step, the little panels that you're going to need to take off. Whatever you feel comfortable with is that. You're going to need to use that M1A1 carbine because it's the strongest thing against the boss zombies and against the mooshlers as well as wustlings and such when it's pack-a-punched. One person is going to have it in their budget to pack-a-punch before obtaining the pommel, and the other 3 players will not. So definitely make sure though that all players have this gun, as everyone will be pack-a-punching it before the boss fight, and make sure these 3 specialist mods are open. If you don't have the levels, you're going to need to grind and make sure all players have this setup specifically unlocked. As soon as you do that, these are going to be the doors that your players will buy. There will be 7 doors that will be required to do this Easter egg, as well as you'll need to take the minecart 4 times, buy the ripsaw, as well as buy the flat cannon, and you will be upgrading 4 guns. Obviously, the first player will be buying door 1, 2, and 5 plus the minecart, and that will equal 3,250 points they have spent before the pommel. Player 2 will specifically buy door 3 and 7 in the minecart once, and that will be 3,000 points. Player 3 will do the same as player 2, but with doors 4 and 6 in a minecart. Player 4 will then buy the ripsaw, the flat cannon. Make sure to specific the flat cannon in the front to where you can shoot down the rock, as you're going to not have another time to do this, so make sure you also don't get knocked out and you kill all the zombies, and hold one in the sub pin before you do that step. Also, they're going to be taking the minecart once. The minecart is very important that you are only taking it 4 times with spending points. What I recommend doing is every time you need to do a ritual, send 3 players in from the bottom, have the 4th player up top, call them in. As soon as those 3 players are in, the cart will get up to the top, have that 4th player then take the cart in. The Mushuler might spawn in during that time, but most likely if you do it quick enough, you won't have a Mushuler spawning in, and it'll be very easy to get in that room and do said ritual without any chance of the players not getting in the room, because a lot of times the game does glitch a little bit and you can't get all 4 players in on one ride, and you will not have in your budget to go over this limit at all. Also, one of the players, 1, 2, or 3, will need to pack-a-punch a gun, and that will increase their limit from 3,000 whatever to 5,000 whatever, allowing you to still be within your 20,000 point budget to unlock the pommel, and you're going to be only having 1 pack-a-punch gun till the pommel is complete. So give it to your weakest link in your team, or you're not a strong player on your team. What you're going to do next is, obviously, once you get all the doors, you can hold off on buying the 7th door until you see the whistling step of this Easter egg guide, so that you can see which specific door I open. But you're going to come in here and do the fire trap. You will not be using an STG like you see on screen, but you'll be using an M1A1. This was a different attempt where we used a slightly different run of weapons, not all pack-a-punch, but nonetheless, you're just going to train in here until one of these fire things goes off. Just have your best trainer do this. They should have 2 or 3 armor at this point from the other players in their game and these shell shocks, so it should be pretty easy to do this and not go down. If you are going to go down, obviously pop shell shock, but try to wait until you get to the first one, pop shell shock. Then when the second one goes off, have a 2nd player jump in from outside, come and activate a shell shock, and then the 3rd one will do the same for each of the 3 vents, making it so you will have a safe way to not take any damage during this step and get it done real quick, real easy. And you're going to obviously then move on to the flat cannon. This is again going to be purchased by the 4th player, the player using the ripsaw. It's very important that your entire game, you make sure that each player is known their position 1 through 4, because that will come in very handy for the strategy of the boss fight, as well as make sure your players are all in the sub-boat pin and you have 1 person holding the zombie in the sub-boat pin, so you don't have to do what I'm doing and sporadically kill zombies and have players rush up to protect you while you're in the turret, because you cannot get knocked out, like I said, or you will fail the challenge if you have to get in it one more time using the specific setup. As soon as you're done with this, you're just going to move on to doing the artillery bomber and doing all the different miscellaneous steps you need to do for the Easter egg, as well as getting the pest spine and charging that one up, doing the pest ritual, getting the Mushuler ritual, and all of that taken care of. As you see here, we are taking all 3 of ours in at the same time for this. What happens is we have a 4th player on top, again calling the minecart, so it doesn't cost any players any amount of points, because this is not one of the 4 rituals where you have to have all 4 players in the secret room. So you're just going to go on in, you're going to put all 3 in at once, 1, 2, 3, whatever order. When you come back out, you can easily end up shooting them on the beach if you shoot the far right one that comes by the doors that exit from the spawn room, if you would like, and you can be having the 1 player with the ripsaw continually ripsawing them while another player is using either pack-a-punch gun or shell shock to inflict a lot of damage on them pretty quick. But make sure you aren't going too crazy, because you don't want to kill them like we do in our game right here. We end up killing one. Next, you're going to go on and do those rituals, and you're going to move on to the whistling. You're going to need to take in this specific path. This is going to be the easiest and quickest route to do this, with only purchasing 7 doors and staying within your 20k budget for the pommel. After you have completed all of these steps, you're going to be able to pack a punch your other 3 players' guns, including the player with the ripsaw and the 2 players 1 or 2 or 3 that didn't do it previously. But you're going to just take the Wustling right past the quick reload perk, and you're just going to come up to this little spot here. You're going to want to have a second player on the top while the third player trains the zombie elsewhere, so that way the zombie doesn't get in the way, and you can have that player, as you see right there, just shoot the Wustling, and he will come right over this edge and just walk right up here. You're then going to take him down to his remainder of his 3 perks, or his 4 perks at this point, and take him back to spawn, and he'll be done. As soon as he is done, you're going to obviously do his ritual in the room. Once again, have 3 players at the beach go in first. Once all 3 of them are in, have your 4th player purchase the minecart. This will be your 3rd out of 4th player to use the minecart, so make sure you are again splitting each minecart right up with a different player to get this done. Once all of this is done and the monkhead ritual is done, you're going to be able to pack a punch for your other 3 players and be ready for the boss fight. Make sure all players have the pommel before you go in using the minecart trick. Do not spend any money and you will be all set for the boss fight. Here is where, if you want to, you can have 1 or 2 hearts and it will make it a little easier for the boss fight, but you can definitely do it without. What you're going to do is you're going to activate 1 shell shock at a time. Follow the order of player 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you keep that same order, like I said earlier, for the entire time, every time you use a shell shock, players go in a specific order, it's going to make it a lot easier to keep track of who has a shell shock and who doesn't. Just remember your guys' names and do it from 1 through 4, however you end up setting it up in your game. It's going to make it a lot easier for you guys to get this done. You're just going to continually use shell shocks one after another. First player will call to the second when theirs is out, and so forth for all 4 players. And the hearts are just backup in case you feel like you didn't have enough time to kill them, or in case you feel a little bit scared to deal with a few zombies that'll be around you, but the zombies won't be a big problem at this point. Once you are done with this first phase, you're gonna have an easy 2nd, 3rd, and 4th stage. So I would recommend trying to recharge your meter as much as possible before leaving the first stage and going to the 2nd. But if you don't get a full charge, that's totally okay, because you can use one of your meters you brought in. If you didn't bring in a meter, try and at least get 1 shell shock before you go into the 2nd stage. Now obviously just kill the bombers. We used our meter to fill ourselves at a little bit over our full meter, so it gave us plenty of time to get through the 2nd phase, no problem. What you're going to do is have your pommels at the ready. You're going to have your first player again use their shell shock, and you're going to have the other players and that player all throw their pommels. This guy will be obliterated really quick, and you're going to sit here the entire time. You're not going to leave. You're just going to keep activating shell shocks one at a time. No zombies will attack you from behind, and the mushers will only come from in front. This one's pretty easy to do. Sometimes the mushlers feel like they're not spawning and take an extended amount of time to spawn, up to 30 or so seconds. If you do, you can move out just a little bit or look around the corner on your left, and they should be around there somewhere, and you can just go ahead and shoot them, and they will come back over to the correct spot, and you will be able to finish this ritual. Once you are done with this ritual, do not forget to grab that heart and make sure that you are filling up your meter, if possible, without risking any downs, as much as possible, to take in as many meters as you can to the next stage, so that way you don't have to use any full meters or deal with anything. In this case, we ended up getting the treasure zombie to spawn during the Easter egg, so we ended up killing him right as we were leaving the 2nd ritual and got a free heart, which was very lucky and made it a lot easier for us. But even without a full heart in the 3rd stage, it will be very easy to do. As you see here, we grabbed the 1 heart, and then, like I said just a second ago, the other heart was from the treasure zombie. We all go on, we grab our max ammo, and we get ready for the 3rd stage of the boss fight. This one went really smooth, and ended up we only needed to kill 2 of the Meistermuschlers for some reason, and it ended. I'm not sure if that was just a game specific glitch to our specific game, or if it was specifically gonna happen every time, but either way, we just wait till this purple one gets here, do our first player's shell shock again, just the same order, so it's very easy to call that out. Be very calm and concise when you do call it out, so that way your teammates is very understanding of who's going to go in what order, and you're just going to continually keep doing that 1, 2, 3, and 4 as long as these guys are here. it's going to take probably about 2 shell shocks before they end up going to run away if you have 2 double charge, or it's going to take 4 if you only have single charges, but they will eventually just stop spawning. You probably won't have to kill all 4, but even if you do, it'll be very easy to do. At this point, if you have a backup Uber-laden, you can feel free to pop it if you need it in your game. We obviously did not, because we had 2 players in my game, player 3 and 4, that still had 2 double charged shell shock abilities, so we made it really easy to go ahead and do the final stage. You're just going to activate player 3 and then 4, if necessary, shell shocks to protect yourself from the zombies while you finish off the Meister and shooters. This is going to be the easiest stage to finish. As soon as you're done with that, you're going to be done with your challenge. But make sure that you are being cautious during this last stage. One of my players ended up staying in the minecart, which was a poor call, so he had to pop an Uber-laden to use his shell shock again and protect himself because he wasn't being very cautious of his positioning. But nonetheless, we successfully did this with very easy method, using 2 Uber-ladens over the entire game. Very little consumables. Could have easily done it with no consumables, but we wanted to 100% get it for you guys so we could make this guide. So if this guide did help you guys out and helps you guys get your Slayer of Casablanca, it would be greatly appreciated if you guys could drop a like. Our like goal for this video is going to be an extremely high one of 1,115 likes, but I know you guys can smash that, so definitely share this with any of your friends playing World War II trying to get this Slayer of Casablanca challenge. Make sure to drop a like again if you guys did enjoy the video. Check out the channel for more amazing, great COD Zombies and Fortnite videos, news, and tutorials, and we're gonna see you guys on a video real soon.